August 4th, 2019. A very sad morning in Dayton, Ohio, with a mass shooting occurring in the ever-popular Oregon district of Dayton, with so many wonderful restaurants and drinking establishments, places to hear music. One of the most beautiful parts of Dayton, in the historic part of Dayton, the Oregon district. And what we have is a person went in with a AR-15 long gun, obviously not handguns in this case, and had extended clips of ammunition, which, it's important to remember the AR-15 is a .223 round. Most all of you who listen to me already know about firearms, so this is for the people who don't. The AR-15 is basically a non-automatic version of the M16, and the diameter of the lead, the bullet itself, is only the size of a .22, but because it has an elevated powder burst behind it, like a larger cartridge, and it makes it a very strong round. And then when fired in rapid succession, i.e. as fast as you can squeeze your trigger finger, it sounds just like a full auto machine gun. And these are completely legal in the United States and have been since the beginning of the time. And I'm going to argue that even under the circumstances, they have to stay legal. But we got to use better vetting processes to keep people from getting guns that shouldn't. We're back to behavioral issues. And I want to talk about disenfranchisement in this society and what's happened to the family and education and these things. But first, I want to talk a little bit more about what happened this morning around, I think the first police calls came out around 1. Police are always on the scene in the Oregon district, cordially so. Usually, talking to police officers on the corner, eating an egg roll, drinking some coffee. Pretty normal thing. And not to mention what happened in El Paso just before this, which I know now the left will use to say gun control is the only way. And it makes me wonder in El Paso, Jesus, Soros pay him to go down there and stir up border trouble like he did the guy out in Spokane who went in with a rifle and some Molotovs, the anti-fascist, pro-communist Antifa member. So what we have happening in Dayton last night is around the 400 block of 5th Street, which is around a bar I believe they call Ned Pepper's now. There's an altercation with the young man. Somebody had said early in the reports that, they don't know who he is even yet, said early in the reports that he had been turned away at a door of a bar somewhere, but this is untrue. As we find out, he wore a mask and body armor, Kevlar of some sort. So this was premeditated. He obviously had more than the standard 30-round clip, and he shot into a crowd of 1,000 people. Anyone knows anything about the Oregon district knows on Friday, Saturday nights when the weather's like this, at the height of the evening, there's easily 1,000 people in the district or around 5th Street, and it's a wonderful place to party. We don't want to ever forget that part. And humans are stronger than guns. And guns don't kill people, people kill people. As I always tell my students, if it wasn't a gun, it'd be a rock or a knife. And it is, if you look up the statistics. So we got to get past this and look at the problems that bring it, to stop the thinking that makes people want to kill people in mass. So what we have is a disgruntled person comes out, masked, full body armor with a semi-automatic rifle, and obviously scared, of doing it, not knowing what he's doing. The majority of those wounded, I believe close to 90% of those wounded were shot below the waist, which means there's some probably femoral arteries getting clipped, and that meant sudden death, which is for sure with a death toll like this. I mean, 9, counting 10, counting him, dead, and I think 26 injured. Seriously, many seriously, so that his shooting was dropping off, so he either didn't have good aim, anybody knows you center body mass, so he wasn't with it while he was doing it, and you can't kill the most people if your gun's pointed at the ground or falling off on every shot. So it shows his state of mind is out of whack completely, obviously doing the act, and then his abilities are skewed. You might ask, drugs, who knows? Not all mass shooters are using drugs. Now, the problem here to me is a simple one. I mean, it showed in Las Vegas, horribly so, with such large numbers of folks killed. We have a problem with disenfranchisement in the society we live in. And part of it is grounded in education. Part of it's grounded in family and rooted in family and teaching and training and common sense over wishful thinking. And but more than anything, we have people who are so disenchanted, disenfranchised by the society that they're willing to kill people in mass that they don't even know, just as some sort of last stand statement. And there is something said here for copycat issues of this occurring. You could argue perhaps the one in Dayton last night was a copycat for the one in El Paso yesterday. Hell, they weren't 12 hours apart. It wasn't long. Excuse me. So what it means is this is not about gun control. This is about human control. So it's about people being checked out before they buy a firearm. It's about people having mental well-being. There needs to be a simple psych eval to get a gun. If it's not that hard, people need to have background checks. People with mental illness can't have firearms. And all in all, we cannot have the guns collected. I mean, if people want to try to collect guns in America, that'll be Civil War Part 2 here. It's not Canada, and you just can't come in and make a law and collect our guns. Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Chuck Schumer, all the rest of you clowns. And nonetheless, I would also like to take this time to say that our governor, Mike DeWine, I'm glad that him and Fran are concerned for Dayton, but I've never seen this guy do one good thing that made sense to me in my entire life. I hate to say it, Mike, but, I figure I'd just call you out right now over a sympathetic tragedy, Reality is 6 weeks ain't long enough to determine if you need an abortion. That's a different kind of killing. Maybe of a life already in flow, you don't know. Tell Fran I said, hey, man. Reality is that if you don't think it through, it won't go away. Gun control has no part of this. It's education. It has to begin at home. It has to begin when they're children. Children can't be left to grow up like wild weeds, unattended, never taught, trained with technical gear, phones, and boxes, electronic boxes. And what do they create? People who do robotic things like street sweeping with a rifle, with a high-powered rifle. Yeah, that's what we get. Disenfranchised people. Disenfranchisement starts at home and in the community, just like love or anything else. And on that note, didn't mean to sound so forceful there, but it is a Sunday, I guess. Might have to have a shot of bourbon. Nonetheless, hope you have a good Sunday and a better week than what we're seeing right now. Peace to peace. Peace out, y'all. Take care.